but we should understand that this situation that is offered to us will not last forever, and we will have to die, and we don't know exactly when this is going to happen. So we should think, we should reflect, and try to find if there is a possibility to avoid suffering in the future, having reflected on that. And we should see in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, Sangha, kind of a guideline, a program that, when it is followed, will protect us from difficult situation in the future. Okay, so this is one thing. But we should understand that the mere attainment of a good situation in the future, like the human rebirth that we have now, for example, and we do not pass beyond suffering. We are always tormented. So it is by nature very unsatisfactory and not enough. So we should reflect deeper, and we should try to understand that the nature of our mind is pure, and the affliction, the distortion of reality, and all of this afflictive state of mind that arises due to that fundamental distortion, like attachment, aversion, pride, belligerence, all of this do not penetrate the nature of the mind. So if we realize the actual meaning of reality, if we realize the nature of our mind, then we can separate ourselves from this distortion and actualize a state of happiness which is not conditioned by external and internal events. Okay, the mind, just by its mere functioning, produces happiness instant by instant. Okay, so having thought about this and having generated a longing for this type of permanent and unconditioned happiness, we should understand that this by itself is also not enough, because once it is attained, from outside there will be the interruption of benefiting other. There will be the interruption of the activities of benefiting other. So therefore we should raise our motivation and take it to consideration all sentient beings, thinking that they are exactly like us. They desire happiness and they only find difficulties and suffering. And all of these sentient beings have been extremely kind to us in the past. And therefore we should embrace the responsibility of taking care of those sentient beings. And we have met the Buddha Dharma. So therefore, if as we associate the understanding, the wisdom side, the understanding of emptiness with the activities of the bodhisattva and the development of the qualities, then we can develop a state of mind where spontaneously our mind does not become only a source of happiness for ourselves, but also a source of happiness for others. Okay, so that should be our motivation, and we can formulate it in this way, that through our practice of hearing, reflecting, and meditation, may we actualize the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, so that should be our motivation. So with this in mind, we can recite now the Heart Sutra, maybe.
The heart of the perfection of wisdom sutra. I prostrate to the Arya triple gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagwan was dwelling on Mass of Vultures mountain in Rajgate together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagwan was absorbed in the concentration of phenomena on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadvati Putra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagwan arose from that concentration and committed the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagwan Harikatha apologized. The Bhagwan Harikatha apologized to Shariputra that he had mistaken the perfection of wisdom for ignorance. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no ignorance, ignorance is not other than ignorance. Ignorance is not other than ignorance.
Shanti, we cannot hear you anymore. Okay, looks like our host is gone.
I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings.
Thank you. So, can I share my screen? It's possible, yeah?
Yes, Venerable.
Okay. Okay, so in terms of our text, okay, we have seen, so we are going through the short Lamrim of Lama Tsong Khapa, and we have seen that all Lamrim, whatever next brief it is or extensive it is, it always have these four outlines. Okay, I mean the greatness of the author, the greatness of the Dharma, that is going to be explained, the how to teach and listen, and finally the sequence on how to lead the disciples through the stages of the path. Okay, so we are still in this section, and we have seen that there is a preliminary before entering into the actual way of leading the disciple, is to explain, see, the importance of relying on the spiritual guide. Okay, so this is particular to the composition in the Gelug system, where before starting the actual presentation of the past, then there is to underline the importance of relying on a perfectly qualified spiritual friend in order to be led along the path and to ensure, you see, the abandonment of faults and the development of the proper qualities, Then Lama Tsong Khapa explained this before as a preliminary, because it is all type of trainees of the first scope, of the medium scope, and of the great scope are concerned by the spiritual guide. Okay, without the spiritual guide, there is no Dharma, basically. Okay, so we have seen how to actually rely on this spiritual guide. Okay, briefly, we have seen that the advantage of doing it, the disadvantage of not doing it. We have seen its quality, and we have seen that the actual training on how to rely on the spiritual guide takes two aspects. There is the actual devotion that has to be developed in the heart of the disciple has two aspects. There is an aspect of respect, okay, by contemplating the kindness of the teacher, and there is an aspect of faith by contemplating his qualities of realization and knowledge and realization. Okay, so that's one thing. So this is okay, in the terms of when you hear, you see, devoting yourself to the spiritual guide, you should understand that there is a first aspect done by the mind, okay, and that aspect done by the mind has two qualities, okay, which is faith and respect, and then there is a second way to develop to devote oneself to the spiritual guide is through actions, okay, through mind and through actions. And through action, basically, it has what does that mean? It means to take to heart his instructions, and to practice in accordance to what has been taught to you. Okay, that's the way to rely on the spiritual guide. Okay, and there is here it also mentioned, you see, that you have to help him in whatever, you know, like a task eventually he asks you to carry on, etc. And there's also the eventually presenting a material offering and everything. But we have to understand, you know, that the highest way to devote oneself the spiritual guide through action is to practice in accordance with what he revealed to us. Okay. Then after we have entered. We are approaching, you see, the training, the actual training in the stages of the path. But before, there is another preparation is to generate in the disciple, you see, to generate in the heart of the disciple the desire to take the essence of this opportunity that he has. He has a perfect human rebirth. He has met the Dharma. He has met the teacher eventually. He has interest, he has faith into the teachings of the Buddha. So those conditions to come together are very difficult. So in order for the student to really, from the depth of his heart, generate the intention to use this opportunity, there is right at that level, you see, the teachings on the precious human rebirth, okay? The teachings on the person human rebirth, which is the stimulus to take the essence of the optimum human existence. And this, normally it comes under three outlines, okay? First, the student has to reflect on the entity, to recognize this perfect human rebirth, which has 18 qualities. And then after is going to contemplate the actual value of what he has, you see? And this is done through contemplating that from this support, from this precious human rebirth, from this support, he can actualize temporal happiness, which is a good condition in cyclic existence. He can actualize the ultimate happiness, and this is the individual nirvana, or the state of Buddha, and he can eventually contemplate, as it is explained in the Liberation of the Palm of Your Hand, that all of these qualities and all of this potential exist at every instant of his life. See, whatever you do or whatever you don't do, this potential is there, and it's up to us to make use of it. Otherwise, it's going to waste. Okay, and then finally, the third contemplation is to think about the difficulty to gain one more time, to gain in the future, okay, again, this precious optimum human rebirth. Okay, so this is done through contemplating the actual causes that are necessary to gather together to obtain this existence. The second is to contemplate how rare it is from the point of view of analogies. And then the third point is to contemplate how difficult it's going to be in the future to obtain it again, by considering all the negative action that have been accumulated in this life and since beginning next life. So from the point of view of the probabilities, okay, it's going to be very, very difficult. This is why actually in the teachings, you see, it is said that this human rebirth is obtained only once. Obtained only once means that due the probability, you see, the probability to reobtain a human existence, not only a human existence, but qualify with all of these 18 qualities are very difficult, because all of these 18 qualities, they are the ripening result of a particular action done in the past at different time, in different place. And when we take rebirth, all of these different actions, they have to ripen at the same time, on the same place. Okay, so the probability are very difficult. So this is why in the teaching he said that it is obtained once. Okay, remember that here we're not talking about the human existence. We are talking a human existence qualified by those 18 attributes. Okay, so pretty much this is where we are left with the class. So in terms, you see, of the training of the beings of the three scope, we are going now to we are here. You see the training of the mind and the state of the past of the being shared by the being of the small scope, and we have developed a yearning for the good rebirth. Okay, we are there. We are developing the yearning from the good rebirth. Okay, and now we are going to see. We are going into the section which is the teachings, which are the actual means to obtain this good rebirth. Okay, so first there is the generation of the desire to obtain this optimum rebirth again, and then after there is the actual means how to gain it. Okay, so this is where we are. So in the text, it is pretty much the stanza. We are still at stanza number 13, I think, yes, where it says, so we have done the first half. The first half of the stanza is about it presents the precious human rebirth. So by reflecting, as I said, by reflecting on this human rebirth from the point of view of entity, value, and rarity or difficulty, we generate the desire to use this opportunity. Okay, and it says, this body of leisure is found but once and is difficult to obtain again. Okay, that's it. So that in this line, in these two lines, you see, oh, sorry, I forgot one. So it says, the body of leisure, this body of leisure, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, is found but once, though difficult to obtain again. Okay, and that's it. So that's the precious human rebirth. And now there is, so we have to understand the pedagogy behind, you see, those teachings, and especially we have to understand the structure and how one aspect of the teachings, you see, come after another one. You see, so with this part and with these teachings, we have developed the interest in taking this opportunity, but we have problems. The problem is laziness, you see, and we can distinguish different type of laziness. And usually when we talk about laziness, we talk about the three types of laziness, and there is one laziness which is attachment to trivial activities. Okay, there is attachment to trivial activity. We just so this can be explained sometimes attachment to negative action, but I prefer to have a general consideration, which is just attachment to activities because we are seeking, you see, the pleasure of this life. Basically, there's so many things that we are attached to, and we lose time in a lot of these different activities. So let's say trivial activities. Okay, and then we have another type of laziness, which is the laziness of procrastination. Okay, so it means that we postpone. Okay, oh no, first I have to finish my job, and then when I be in retirement, you see, I can dedicate myself to meditation. Or first my kids, they need to go to school, blah, blah, blah. I have this to do, I have this. There is always something that comes, you see, and we always postpone this time. So, and then there is the third type of laziness, which is the laziness of not feeling able to. Okay, I said that, oh no, I will never be able to generate such quality. I will never be able to understand emptiness. I will never be able to develop concentration. You see, so we have this. So those are considered as laziness. Okay, and they have antidotes. So for the antidote of the attachment to trivial activity and procrastination, now comes, you see, the contemplation on death and impermanence. Okay? Now it comes that contemplation, because by contemplating, you see, by reflecting on this aspect of the teachings, then one will reorder the priority in this life. Slowly, it will come naturally, because it will feel, you see, that there is this opportunity, and this opportunity can be lost. Will be lost, and can be lost at any time. You see, the moment of death is completely uncertain. Then once, you see, disengage his mind from the appearance of this life. Okay, it disengages mind from the appearance of this life. Right now, our mind is completely obsessed with the appearance of this life, you see, and we only seek, our consciousness only seek the respective object of our different senses. Okay, that's the way we spend our life, we spend our day, and we spend our time. So to avoid, and in this frame of mind, there is no time, there is no intention even, you see, to seek something that goes beyond this existence. So this is why at that time, you see, comes the teachings. And so those two meditations, this is why here they are even closer, inserted in a single stanza, because for beginners, for us beginners, it is very important to have on a daily basis this contemplation on the preciousness of this the human existence, and how brief it is, and it can stop at any moment. So if we spend a little bit every day, see, like 10, 15 minutes with those two contemplation in a single session, there will be a great influence on our mind at so many levels. We are going to see that. Okay, so in terms of okay, so it says it finishes quickly as a lightning in the sky. Okay, so having reflected in this way, I realized that all worldly activities are like the wind of the shaft, okay, and sees its essence continuously day and night. Are you yogi practice in this way? If you desire liberation, you should do likewise, okay? And this is very similar to, I mean, it is also extremely very, very clear. Lama Tsong Khapa formulated that in this text of the three principal aspects of the past, where it says, freedom and endowment, see, the 18 qualities are difficult to find, and it's a life, and life has no time to spare. By gaining familiarity with this, attraction to the appearance of this life is reversed. Okay, so this is, you see, this is how do the person of the small scope will actually realize his goal by reversing the appearance of this life. By reversing this appearance of this life, he will start to understand, you see, that next life is more important. Not only that, but next life, there are so many still are coming before liberation, and therefore he will take this opportunity to create the cause to be in good condition in the future, to ensure that he continues to meet his spiritual friend, he continues to meet the Dharma teaching, and therefore slowly, you see, he can go on and eventually attain the ultimate goal. Okay, so that's for him. That's for him. So now, in terms of course, this this type of consideration of thinking about future rebirth, of thinking about in like liberation and enlightenment, they can arise in the mind. See, those conviction or those interests can arise in the mind if before you have ascertained through reasoning the continuity of the mind. Okay, and otherwise it's difficult to see. If you think that there is only this life, and then after it's finished, then what we are doing now has no great meaning. Okay, no great meaning. So before to move on, it is important to personally and also all together, okay, to reflect on and try to ascertain the validity of the exposition of the continuity of the mind. Okay, so we don't have much time, but to do it briefly, we have to understand that in terms of a Buddhist classification of phenomena, we distinguish, okay, permanent phenomena and impermanent phenomena. So a permanent phenomena, it is a phenomena, the meaning is not eternal, okay? Permanent means non-momentary, non-changing. It is a phenomena that do not arise due to causes and condition, and therefore it is not in a state of it does not have momentariness. Okay, it does not accomplish any function. It is not a result, therefore it is not a cause as well. Okay, it is something which does not depend on causes and condition and does not undergo momentary changes. So what type of phenomena are permanent phenomena? We have, for example, the very well-renowned uncompounded space. Okay, uncompounded space. It is the absence of obstructive contact. For example, you see here, my hand can move freely exactly because there is no obstructive contact. Okay, so the uncompounded space, it is this negative phenomena. It is a negative phenomena that can only be realized by the mental consciousness. Okay, I'm not talking about space, the space which is the luminosity, okay, or the darkness that you see according to causes and condition. I'm talking here about a phenomena which is a negation of something, and the negation here, it is the obstructive contact. So the uncompounded space, which is the obstructive contact, you see, it is not a phenomena it's depending on causes condition. It is a mere negation of something. Okay, so that phenomena is not changing instant by instant. Is not transforming into something else. It is therefore a permanent phenomena. We have also emptiness of inert existence. It is also a permanent phenomena. It does not change instant by instant, and it is also a negation, but that time a non-affirming negation. A negation of what? A negation of objective existence, of natural existence. We'll come to that later on. So that is one type of phenomena. It is the permanent phenomena. And there is another type of phenomena, which is the impermanent phenomena. So the impermanent phenomena, it is all phenomena that are depending on causes and condition. They are produced. You see, they are produced by causes and condition, and they change. They change instant by instant. They are in a state of disintegration. Okay, continuous disintegration. So instant by instant, they are changing, and they're able to perform a function. When we say that impermanent phenomena are able to perform a function, we are not essentially talking about like for the pen as the function to write. That's not the point here. The function of those phenomena is to be able to produce another instant included into the same substantial continuity. For example, the pen, it is an impermanent phenomena, and is able to produce another instant of pen. You see, there is this disintegration. Instant by instant, phenomena are disintegrated and are reproduced. Okay, but the second moment of the phenomena, somehow it's produced with is of less quality, than the first one. Okay, we'll come to that. So now, if you take in, so this is it. You see, all phenomena, if there is an existent phenomena, it is either a permanent phenomena and an impermanent phenomena. And the impermanent phenomena are of three types. Okay, there is matter, very easy. So all the object of the senses, form, sound, smell, taste, shape, color, all of this is matter. It is impermanent phenomena. It is matter. And it means that it is atomically established, okay? Atomically established. And then we have consciousness, okay? Consciousness, it is another impermanent type of impermanent phenomena, but it is not matter. And then there is the third type, not really relevant for what we have to discuss right now. Another type of impermanent phenomena is called the non-associated compositional factor. It is neither matter nor consciousness. It is an impermanent phenomena, but it is not exclusively matter or exclusively consciousness. Okay? It's not one or it's not the other. For example, the person is a non-associated compositional factor, and it is impermanent. The person is not matter. The person is not mind, or is not exclusively one, exclusively the other. Okay, it exists in dependence on them. Or we can posit the life force. The life force. We can posit the karmic imprint. We can posit time. We can posit impermanence in self. All of this, you see, are impermanent phenomena, but they are not matter and they are not consciousness. Therefore, they fall into this category, which is vague enough to put everything that is not exclusively matter or exclusively consciousness. Very practical. Anyway, so now we are talking about the consciousness. So there are many theories about consciousness, particularly these days, but the theories that mostly now is like presented, there are several theories in terms of the modern science for consciousness, but the main one, let's say the main one, is that consciousness arises. See, it is a co-emergent property of the body, of the body, or the brain and the body, or just exclusively the brain. So I call this the Pinocchio theory, because basically from matter, consciousness arises. And we have to investigate this. See, this is so all of the, also in terms of modern science, people think, I mean, those scientists, they present this complete theory, but actually they are not complete theory. So if you don't have a complete theory, you don't have a theory at all. Okay. Anyway, we have to investigate the possibility, you see, of the consciousness to arise or to be an emergent property of matter. So in terms of impermanent phenomena, we have said that they are produced, you see, they arise from causes and condition. And we can distinguish two types of causes and condition. We can distinguish the cooperative condition, and we can distinguish the substantial cause. This is a very abbreviated categorization of a classification of causes and condition. We can divide further, but there is no purpose. I mean, it's not necessary. Okay, so all phenomena which are produced, which are therefore impermanent phenomena, they depend on causes and condition, and we can distinguish two types: the substantial cause, which is the main cause, and the cooperative condition. Now, what is the substantial cause? What does that mean, substantial cause? It means that it is the congruent cause. It means that there is a similarity of nature between the cause and the effect. At the time of the cause, you see, in the effect, you can see the similarity of nature with the cause. Okay. It can be traced back. It can be traced back. So therefore, for example, if we take like a cup, for example, or a vase, okay, a clay vase, okay, the clay vase, okay, is the result. It is the result. It depends on causes and condition. And we can posit those two types of causes and condition. So in terms of cooperative condition, which are all the secondary condition and factors that enters into the production of the result, we can posit, you see, the ability of the person, you see, the skill, we can posit, you see, the paint, we can posit the tool, you know, to be able to manipulate and to shape the lump of clay. So those are cooperative conditions. In the same way, for the tree to grow, the cooperative condition would be the ground, would be the heat, would be the moisture. Those are cooperative conditions that are also necessary for the arisal of the result. But they are not the main cause. What is the main cause of the tree? You see, it is or the sprout is the seed, okay, the seed. And there should be a similarity in nature between the seed and the sprout. It is a specific type of seed that produces a specific type of tree or plant. In the same way, for the clay, for the pot, for the clay pot, what is the substantial cause of the clay pot? It is the clay. Okay, so there is a similarity, a congruence, a similarity of nature between the effect, the cause and the effect and the cause. So when we talk about the mind, okay, the mind, we have to investigate for ourselves the nature of that mind. So we know very well the matter, okay? We know very well the matter. And for us, Buddhist practitioner, it is somehow a pity, you see, because we don't really, we talk about the mind, but we don't enough try to understand from our own experience what is the mind, okay? What is the mind? So we have to look for the mind. We have to try to see if we can find the mind. What aspect does he have? Does he have a shape? Does he have a color? Does he have a mass? You see, we have to try to understand what is this mind. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult to validly by one's own experience, you see, establish the validity of those explanations and theories that we are analyzing together. Okay, so when we start to investigate the nature of the mind, we realize very quickly, okay, that those first like superficial aspect of the mind, that the mind has no shape, has no location, has no shape, has no color, has no mass, has no smell. You see, all of these attributes that are attribute of matter, and the mind in particular, he has no obstructivity. He doesn't have the characteristic of obstruction. So the matter, on the opposite, the matter has a mass, has a shape. You see, has the characteristic of obstruction, has the color, has a smell. You see, all of this is the attribute of the matter. And if we analyze deeper, if we investigate deeper the nature of our mind, and that aspect of the mind is clouded now by conceptualization, so it takes a little bit of effort and time to try to be able to experience this mere luminosity. You see, the mind is described as the clear and knowing. Clear and knowing, there are several explanations of this clear and knowing. We can explain it from this point of view. The clear and knowing, clear is like, some people say it refers to the lack of obstruction, but I prefer this other explanation where it explains the mind in terms of having the ability to reflect, okay? To reflect, and the knowing, so to be generated into the aspect of the object, and the knowing is the aspect of the mind that is able to generate ascertainment with respect to that the aspect in which it is generated. So the mind is similar to a mirror. Okay, the mirror reflects objects, the mind also reflects objects. And this is how, according to this is the great work of Dharmakirti, he established the process, the cognitive process. So the mind cognizes object by generating through the aspect. So the aspect is the mind would take the appearance of the object in the same way that the mirror take the appearance of the object. The mind somehow take the appearance of the object. So how do I know the blue, for example, how my eye consciousness know blue? By generating itself into the entity of the blue, into the aspect of the blue. And this is the cognition of the blue, okay? So it reflects, okay? Somehow the object casts its aspect to the mind, and that aspect, that portion, that cognition, you see, which is generated into the aspect of the blue, it is the perception of the blue, somehow. So now we have to investigate, and we have to gain a little bit of experience or insight into this clarity of the mind, and try to understand that this is what the mind is. It is this mere cognitivity, this clarity, this ability to illuminate object, you see, to know, to illuminate object. And this can only perceive, not with a microscope, it can only perceive by contemplation, okay? Through contemplation, slowly, the student is led into this experience of the mere luminosity of the mind. And when this takes place, you see, it becomes very clear that that mere luminosity cannot arise from the matter, because this attribute is not an attribute of matter. Okay, so therefore, that qualities of the mind, that luminosities, that cognitive aspect of the mind can only arise from something which is congruent, substantially equal, okay, substantially same, somehow, of the same nature, So by reflecting in this way, by understanding, you see, first the attribute of matter, and then isolating from our own experience the attribute of the consciousness, we can understand that those two have completely different natures, completely different function, and therefore, having different nature, they must arise from different substantial causes. Okay, and in this way, we can slowly be led to establish that the mind cannot be an emergent property of the body or of the brain, for example, because what is the brain? So it cannot be a chemical process. It cannot be the result of a chemical operation, a chemical process in the brain, simply because chemistry does not pass beyond being matter, atomically established. Okay. So in this way, we can understand that the mind, see, is a different constituent, And in the same way that if we take into consideration, you see, the matter that produces this body, its continuity is uncut. Its continuity is uncut, and it goes back to the Big Bang. You see, we can trace the continuity of this matter, which is always transforming, you see, instant by instant. And it has this, it's the subatomic level is always changing and transforming. In the same way, the mind being an impermanent phenomena, being depending on causes and conditions, it has its own continuity. It has its own substantial cause, which is a previous moment of mind. We can also trace back, you see, the continuity of the mind, see, indefinitely. Okay, so in this way, we can start to understand that the mind having his own process, being a dependent arising, depending on causes and condition, it has its own continuity, and the mind goes on. I mean, since beginningless time, okay, and it will goes on again indefinitely. There is no end, there is no beginning to the continuity of the mind, and there is no end to the continuity of the mind. There is an end to the continuity of the obscured mind. Okay, the obscured mind has an end, and the obscured mind, when through the practice of the past, you see all of this obscuration are eliminated, then the mind itself, as the support, as the basis of qualities, it gets purified, but its continuity is uninterrupted. So therefore, you see, so this is where this is all of this reflection should have been taken place into the mind of the disciple, and he gained conviction into a past life, into future lives, from the point of view of the continuity of the mind. And when we talk about the continuity of the mind, we have to distinguish also different level of subtlety of the mind. We can talk about the coarse mind, we can talk about the subtle mind, and we can talk about the very subtle mind. So what goes on, you see, when we talk about the continuity of the mind, we are not talking about the coarse mind of this life. You see, the coarse conceptual mind, the sense consciousness, all of this, they are based on the support of this life, and at the end they will dissolve into subtler level of consciousness down to the clear light mind. So the clear light mind is the most subtle, the subtle mind that becomes manifest at the time of death, where all of this coarse level of mind going to dissolve, and it is the stable basis, in terms that it is that mind that exists since beginningless time and that continues, okay, to the state of Buddhahood. It is not the coarse mind, it is not the coarse mental consciousness or the coarse sense consciousness, okay? Those are going to dissolve and disappear. But the very, very subtle mind, you see, that also change instant by instant, it is the mind that goes on, okay? So what is the first, so let's put it in like this, what is the substantial cause to the first moment of mind of this life? Okay, it is the last moment of mind of the previous life. Okay, in the same way that when you wake up in the morning, you see, the first moment of waking state, what is its substantial cause? It is the last moment of the sleeping state. Okay, or when you're going to fall asleep, okay, what is the substantial cause or the first moment of the sleeping consciousness? It is the last moment of the waking consciousness. So there's this continuity, but of the very subtle mind, but somehow, you see, there is a dissolution of a coarser level of consciousness into subtler one, and then the reemergence of coarser of consciousness from the subtler one. Okay, so this process of falling asleep and waking up, you see, is very similar to the process of death and process of death. At the time of the last moment of this life, all the coarse consciousness have dissolved into the very, very subtle mind, and the next moment, you see, there is the Bardo state, where the consciousness start to this process of dissolution is done in the opposite order, and from the subtle, the coarse become manifest. So this is in this way. Okay, you can slowly try to doubt first, and then move on to like a correct hypothesis eventually, and then eventually you can move on to the the valid inferential cognition with respect to the continuity of the mind, and therefore posit with validity the existence of past and future life. Okay. Anyway, so to go back here to the argument. Okay. Now we have Lama Tsong Khapa introduced the argument of the contemplation on impermanence. Okay, contemplation of impermanence, because, and this is introduced by the line which says, "It finishes as quickly as the lightning in the sky." Okay, so this is an indication for us that we need to reflect on death. Why? Not to make us sad, okay, but simply because in this way we will generate an antidote that is able to quell, to eliminate this discordant class, which is the laziness of a trivial activity. This is the attachment of trivial activity, or this laziness of always postponing, you know, what is really meaningful to tomorrow, to next week, next month. I have a teacher who passed away some years ago, and he used to say to me, "You should not even postpone to the afternoon what you can do in the morning." So that was his insight, see, and yeah. Okay, so now in terms of impermanence, so when we talk about impermanence, we can talk about two types of impermanence. We can talk about a subtle impermanence, which is the, and we can talk about a coarser impermanence. When you talk about the coarse impermanence, we talk about death, mainly, and this is what we are going to discuss here. But first, I want to introduce a little bit something about this subtle impermanence. Okay, so the coarse impermanence that we can experience. Okay, death, for example, or the apparent change into things over time. You see, this is the clear indication that on a subtler level there is a underlying process of change that goes on. Okay, that goes on. So there is two types of disintegration. There is a disintegration that somehow require secondary condition, okay, that act as a catalyst, you see, to destroy the continuity of something. For example, I have a glass in front of me, and if I'm not careful, then the glass, you see, fell, and it is broken. So I have become, you see, the catalyst for the secondary condition to interrupt the continuity of the glass. But there is also a second aspect of impermanence, which is a more subtle understanding of the transient nature of things. You see, there is a underlying and dynamic process of change in everything that is produced, everything that depends on causes and condition, everything that operates a function, that is a product, is undergo this underlying and dynamic process of change, instant by instant. So at the deeper level, you see, everything is changing from moment to moment constantly. There is nothing that abides beyond the mere instant. Beyond the mere instant. So this process, so according to the different school of Buddhist philosophy, you can posit even a speed. You see, there is the speed of this subtle impermanence. But so if we so, and this change is not really relevant. But if we take, for example, the Sotantrika presentation, they say that in the single instant of a complete action, the smallest instant of a complete action, it is a finger snap. So that is the shortest complete action that can be done, the finger snap. And he says this, you can divide it in 65. Okay, you can split this finger snap in 65, and this 1/65th is the smallest action, is the smallest instant. And they say that in a finger snap, phenomena are produced and destroyed 65 times. So that's the highest deposit. You see the subtle impermanence. But right now, because of the technology, we have like much more deeper, you see, object to measure this transient nature at the subatomic level, and it is way far beyond that number. See, way far beyond that number. Anyway, okay. So there is this process. So this, you see, this continuous process of disintegration that qualified all the impermanent world. This process is not due to a secondary condition. Is not due to a secondary condition that arise and something is destroyed. See, this is not. It is the very cause that led the things to arise. It's also the causes of its destruction. So this, because of this impermanent nature of things, things will be eventually destroyed at some point. They will reach the complete cessation, the complete disintegration. And that complete disintegration is not due to another factor. It is inherent to the condition of impermanent phenomena. Everything that has been produced has to cease, okay? And it is, how do I say, it is, it experiences this continuous instant of disintegration. So as soon as this produces, it moves towards its complete disintegration, instant by instant. You see, instant by, nothing is static, not even for a single instant. So, and this is not due to external, another factor. This is not due to another factor. The mere, because it is produced, so the mere causes that have led the things to be produced, those very causes led the thing to its destruction. Okay, so within the cause of its origin lies the cause of its cessation. Okay, so the momentariness, this momentariness aspect of existence, of the transient existence, impermanent existence, or produced existence, what we call functioning thing, okay, it can be understood in two ways, okay, in terms of the three moments of the existence of an entity, where, for example, in the first instant it arises, on the second instant it abides, and on the third instant it is destroyed, it dissolves, okay? So there is always these three, okay? And we are talking about the subtle aspect here. So this is what is posited by the Vaibhashika, and it is not accepted by the higher school. So for all the higher school, subtle impermanence is not qualified by is not explained, is not by those three moments of arising, abiding, and disintegration. Arising, abiding, and disintegration. It doesn't work like this. Because if it's like this, then you will have to posit one instant which is not subject to disintegration. The instant of abidance would be an instant on which you cannot posit disintegration or momentariness. So that would be this is impossible. Okay, so actually, how disintegratedness, or sorry, disintegration, impermanence is explained. It is explained on a single instant. On a single instant, you can posit production, abidance, and disintegration. You see, well, one single instant can be looked at the instant of production. It can be looked as an instant of abidance, or it can be looked as an instant of disintegration. So all three are posited on a single instant, and this is why there is nothing that abide more than a single instant. Okay, so that's the, we should try to wrap our mind around this concept. Okay, so an instant is non-static. Okay, it is just non-static. As soon as it arises, it moves towards cessation. So the burst of things comes together with the seed or the potential for its dissolution. Yeah. So when you think about this, the impermanence nature of things, and that the fact that everything that is produced move towards disintegration, whatever, person, mountains, town, cars, everything, you see, it helps enormously to reduce attachment, you see, because you realize that everything at the end, it will meet with disintegration. Everything has an end, everything will meet with disintegration. So there's no, by getting attached to things that are naturally transient and that will naturally that are naturally moving towards the disintegration, you see, you understand that you only feeding your own suffering in this way. Yeah. So the problem is that our mind do not engage this aspect of reality, and it conceive things to be permanent. Okay. Even so, we know intellectually that everything is changing instant by instant, that is produced, and it will be eventually destroyed. That knowledge, you see, does not modify our way to engage reality. And every time, you see, so we think that relationships are permanent, that people are permanent, that situations are permanent, status are permanent, okay, health is permanent, problems are permanent eventually, okay, and of course, and so we live in this world, and so we live at like fantasy land, you see. And every time that we are going to meet reality, every time that our mind is going to meet this aspect of reality, which we have completely put in a side, then automatically the suffering will arise in the mind. Okay, so the more we distance ourselves from reality, the more the impact with that reality will be violent. Okay, it's like when you fall, the highest you fall, the harder you hit the ground. Okay, and and it's more vivid. Right? So in this way, you see, if we know that things are by nature transient, that everything that is produced is destroyed, that everything that's been accumulated will be by nature, you see, dispersed, that everything has a beginning and an end, that all meeting end with separation, then see, there is no much problem for us if we engage things with this knowledge, because we take things for what they are, not for what they are not, and therefore at the end, dissatisfaction does not arise in the mind. Okay, dissatisfaction does not arise. So it is very important to reflect on the impermanence of things. Okay, the subtle impermanence. So in brief, so as I was saying, you see, the cessation of thing does not depend from another factor. Then we have to understand why. See, why something that has been produced necessarily need to be destroyed. Necessarily, why doesn't can abide forever? We have to try to think simply because it is another what we call another powered phenomena. Other powered phenomena. This is a terminology that belongs to the Chittamatra system. So basically, it is a phenomena which is under the power of causes and condition. So that phenomena doesn't have the ability to abide, you see, a second moment, because its own arisal depend on causes and condition. And those causes and condition, there are also other power phenomena that depend on causes and condition. So everything is like this transient, gathering of causes and condition, and therefore it cannot abide in a single instant, because everything is under the power of causes and condition, and those causes and condition are also under the power of other causes and conditions. So it is like form, you see. It is just like a bundle of form, a mass of form, like disintegrating instant by instant. So that's how impermanent phenomena are, and that's all what our body is. Our body does not pass beyond this very, very nature, which at the subatomic level is like vibrating and disintegrating instant by instant. See? That's what it is, and nothing else. So it is it is another power phenomena, and it is under the control of their own causes, and doesn't need any other factor, you see, to disintegrate. That's it. It just in its nature, it cannot abide a single instant. So causes and conditions, which do not have the power to sustain themselves permanently, also. So this is how it works. So when we look at the coarse impermanence in this context, we are looking at the process of death. The process of death is just the coarse manifestation, like old age and death. It's the coarse manifestation of this underlying process. And the mode of meditating on this death, which is in what do you say? Referred to by Lama Tsong Khapa in the phrase. You see, it finishes quickly. It is a very precise type of meditation, which is called the nine round of meditation, the 9-round meditation. Okay. First, also we have to understand, before we enter into the development of how to carry on this contemplation, we have to understand the inconvenience of not being mindful of these things. Okay, we have to understand that the purpose, because normally in our culture, in general, and even as human beings in general, we say we don't like to talk about death. We spend that time talking about death. That would be weird. People think it's very strange to think about death, to think that you're going to die and everything. It might create in some people, you see, a depressive state of mind. So if when you meditate on death and you can see that your mind is going into the side of a sadness, you see, or depression or sadness, okay, it somehow become dispirited. That's because your meditation is not going into the right way. Okay, so this is very very important when you do the contemplation of the stages of the past. Lama Tsong Khapa, he gives, you see, a very systematic and precise analytical argumentation that the person should take on, and in the specific order, and that analysis led you to the actual appearance of the object of meditation. So the object of meditation is not the analysis that you're doing. The analysis that you're doing, the point that you are examining, analyzing, are there for the object of meditation to arise at the end. Yeah. So it should not go into any direction. It should be very precise. The mind should be very focused and should undertake, you see, it should analyze those different points in those specific point in the specific order, and at the end a type of mind is produced, and that type of mind which is produced is the actual antidote to the wrong conception that we have in this context. For example, the conception of permanence, okay? And it has a particular function to play. So if we with the idea that you're contemplating a death, then you contemplate death just like this generally, and you end up being sad because we are all going to die, you're not doing a proper job. Okay, so that is not an antidote to anything. Okay? So that I wanted to share this with you. So there is an argumentation. You have to look into the the more detailed explanation of the stages of the past, for example, the intermediate Lamrim or the Lamrim Chenmo. There is also plenty of a guideline meditation that have been published into the FPMT by students and everything. So you can get, you see, all of these outlines that helps you to guide your meditation and your mind to make sure that at the end, the proper object of meditation is produced and is generated, and therefore you familiarize yourself with an antidote, okay, that helps you to grow on the path. That is an antidote to some like a wrong conception that we have, and not just make you depressed. For example, there's no benefit. You see? Okay, so if we look at this meditation on death, as I said, we should first look at the benefit of developing such a mindfulness of death, to be aware, to have it this more close to you, because as long as we do not, as long as we are not under the influence of that understanding, okay, I'm talking about being under the influence of that understanding, then we will continually think about achieving the happiness of this life and evade the suffering of this life. Okay, like I need this, I need that, I want to go there, I want to see that. That's going to be it. That's going to be it. So we will, in this sphere of mind, we will have no space to think about topics that are of greater importance, that goes beyond this existence. For example, future life, for example, nirvana, for example, the state of Buddhahood, see? And even if we somehow, because just we like, or because with affinity of predisposition, you still nevertheless, you see, involve into the study of the practice of Buddhism, then everything will be done for the benefit of this life. And therefore, the benefit you will be able to draw from your practice will be very, very little, very minimum, very little. And so we nevertheless we will not be able to eliminate. You see, it will not be able to whatever we do. We won't be able to eliminate the laziness of procrastination. There is always somewhere to go, someone to meet, something to see. I'm not saying that there is no interesting things. I'm just saying that we might have better things to do. That's all. So what happened is not being under the influence of the understanding of impermanence. Okay, we will be seduced by the idea of abiding for a long time in this life, and due to that, you see, in this sphere of mind, it will be very, very difficult to have a peaceful mind, because we will develop attachment for good, service, people, thing, situation, reputation, blah, 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 whatever. And we will develop hostility for everything that actually that we perceive as an obstacle, that it is, or that we just perceive as an obstacle for all of these things that we want to acquire. See, so we will not be able to pacify the mind from attachment, aversion, pride, resentment. It would be impossible. It would be impossible. So the other benefit, you see, of the contemplation of death is that it really helps to pacify the mind from all of these mental events. So there's a lot of benefit. It's like, you see, if you think, let's say you travel, with your backpack, whatever, your suitcase, you travel into some country, and you have like an itinerary. You do this a few days here, then a few days there, then you change, a few days here, a few days there. So when you move on into this guest house, okay, you don't start to rearrange the room, buy some furnitures, put some new paint on the wall and everything, because you know that you're there just for a few days and then you move on. Okay, you move on. So it is the same way, say, with this life. My teacher used to say that this body is just the hotel, this is the guest house. Soon you have to leave, the mind has to go. So if we think that we are in this life for a long time, still, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, we make a project, you see, for the next 20, 30 years. So of course, then procrastination is unavoidable, and will develop attachment for all of this. We will start to make provision to stay. You make preparation to stay. Instead of making preparation to depart, we make preparation to stay. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay, so in terms of the obstacle to practice, Lama Tsong Khapa in his Lam-rim Shenmo, he explained that the conception of permanence is the biggest obstacle to Dharma practice, and he said that we should put great effort in trying to weaken it, destroy it eventually, but at least to weaken this conception that next month we're still there, next week we're still there, that tomorrow we are still there. Okay, so now with this pandemic, you see, somehow the concept of permanence, of impermanence, is a bit more present to us, but actually it has always been there. Impermanence, death can really strike at any time, and there is no certainty. So this is what we are going to analyze now, and for that I have another slide that I've cut off from. Okay, let's see that. Okay. Okay, we are here. So you see, so that was the precious human rebirth, the stimulus to take the essence. Okay, the precious human rebirth. And when this have been, when all this contemplation have been, you see, they bear their fruit, the student actually want to take the essence, and to make sure he actually take the essence of this life, and he does not waste this time in meaningless pursuits. Then there is now the contemplation. You see, we enter into the training of the mind of the past share by the small scope, and the first one is to develop, you see, to develop the yearning for a good rebirth, and for that we have to recall that our present rebirth will not last for long, and we will have to die. Okay, and this is done through the 9-part meditation. Okay, then we call it the 9-round meditation, because there is the 3 roots, 3 topics, and there is each of those 3 roots. They have 3 points to analyze, and we reach 3 conclusion, 3 determination. Okay, so the final object of the meditation is those final conclusion we are led through the contemplation of the 3 reasonings. Okay, each part has 3 reasonings, and those 3 reasoning, they produce 3 types of mind, and those 3 types of mind, it is the actual antidote. It is with what we have to familiarize ourselves. Okay, so so our meditation is always, you see, alternating analysis and single-pointed meditation. So the analysis is done during the argumentation, and when we reach the conclusion, then there it is a single-pointed meditation. So what are those 3 roots? Those 3 roots are, okay, the death is certain. The second one is the time of death is uncertain. And the third is that the time of death, nothing helps us except the Dharma practice. Basically, what's going to help us at the time of our death is what you have done, how you have spent your life. If you have spent your life, you see, accumulating a virtuous imprint and trying to eliminate negative tendencies, what kind of understanding you will have produced in terms of the ultimate reality, how much you have been accustomed yourself to compassion, whatever altruistic activities you have been carried on. All of this is what will really going to be helpful at the time of death. In terms of memories, what you have seen, what you have done, a place you have been visited. You see, there's if you have visited like so many or visited none, at the time of death is the same. There's no benefit. Anyway, so in terms of the contemplation of the first one, that the time of death is inevitable, you have to take into consideration that, so I'm going to go quickly through that, because otherwise we could spend, as I say, for each topic, we could spend the full 7 sessions on each and every topic. So I just give you the hint, say some hint, and then I explain to you how you have to, I contextualize it, and I try to underline how it works, and the function of it. And then after, it's up to you to look into the Lamrim Shenmo, the intermediate Lamrim. I think it's going to be published at the end of this month. Okay, the intermediate Lamrim, the Lamrim Jingwa. You'll be able to find it also. And you have also the liberation in the palm of your hand, and you can find, you see, a detailed explanation on how to carry on your argumentation. So the first time is to contemplate. So the first route is contemplate that the time of death is certain, and then you have 3 contemplation. Okay, that the time of death definitely come, and for that, you see, whatever body you have, so whatever type of body you have, whatever where you stay, in which place you abide, or whatever possession you have or skills you have, you see, or rich or powerful you have, it doesn't matter. When death comes, death comes. See, there is no way to stop it. There is no way to avert the time of death. There is no place you can hide, and there is no force you can oppose to death. Okay, when it comes, it comes. Okay, so in brief, that's the first point. The second point inside of the first one, which the contemplation of death is certain, is to think about that our life is continuously, you see, diminishing, is continuously wearing off, instant by instant, inhaling and exhaling. You see, each heartbeat, they're just they're the manifestation of our life passing away, and so every second, every minute that pass bring us closer to the time of death, and there is no way to add up time. There is no way to block that. There is no way to slow down this process, and there is no way to add up some time. Okay, that's it. Now, karma project a certain type of year. So a human being, you know, it's around like 100 years maximum. Yeah, it's very rare. People will end up, 100 years, end up living 100 years. What you can do is just make sure that you can leave this amount of time that has been projected by karma, but you cannot add any. And that's it. So you have to sing, and in ancient time, people were going to a waterfall to meditate on this, close to waterfall, or very tumultuous, like a mountain river, and they will like meditate that their life it's finishing at the same speed of this waterfall, at the same speed of this river. Okay, so you can use whatever, now we have a clock. You just can put a clock in front of you, and you can meditate that second by second. You see, your life is finishing. It's finishing. So it is good at that level. You need to have a sense of speed, a sense of like this unbelievable speed at which our life is finishing, is completely finishing, and is going away. And there is no way you can retain this. There's no way you can retain this. So you should go into that direction. Okay, to that direction. Okay, and then therefore, yeah. So it's like there's this analogy that I like very much. I think it is in the intermediate Lamrim, where it says there is you do not rejoice. It said, do not rejoice in the thought that you are alive and you are stationary, like not moving, stationary. He said, because actually, it's like falling from a cliff. While you are falling, there is no moment for you to rejoice. See the space between while you're falling, you are in the space, and he said that space is not enjoyable. You see, because there'll be the impact. So that's life. Our life is like this. You see, so we should not enjoy and rejoice that we are stationary, because we are moving toward our destruction and at a very high speed. Okay. Anyway, and so the third point in this contemplation of death is to contemplate that there is no much time left. Okay. Actually, if we sum up all the different activities that we have to do, so we have to sleep like 6-8 hours a day, depending on some people. Some people, they can sleep less, some people, they can sleep more. Okay, then we have to feed them like so much, how do you say, activities that revolve around the body, which are like a bare necessities. This is like manutention. How do you say this in English? I'm not sure it is English. Anyway, we have to take care of the body. You have to rest the body. You have to feed the body. You have to make sure that the body moves around a little bit. You have to wash the body. So there's so much activities that are taken, by just the body. And then you have to go to work, take care of your family if you have. So at the end, you see, there is no much time really to dedicate to the study of the Dharma and the practice of the Dharma itself. So so there is no much time left. There is no much time to waste. There is no time to waste. That's the point. Okay. So in the Lamrim, they have like Geshe Shekawa, he made this calculation, and he said, well, if you put together 60 years, a life of 60 years, and you eliminate all of these various activities that one has to go through or eventually do a little bit to relax, then at the end, on 60 years, you can extract 5 years of Dharma practice put together. Anyway, and we have to think, you see, that all the wonders of this life, they'll only be memories at the time of death. Okay, memories. And so by contemplating those 3 points, you arrive, you see, you should generate the mind that this determination. See, I must practice the Dharma, and that's your object of meditation, and then you abide single-pointedly on that determination. Okay, to establish that tendency in the mind. The mind is it's clear knowing, as we said before, but also we have to understand that the mind is the creator of habits. Okay, he works with familiarity. So basically, we like what we've been accustomed to what we've been exposed. What the mind has been exposed, the mind starts to like it. It can like anything. The mind can like anything. You just have to accustom the mind to do something, and it will do it with like a ever-growing facility, and it will become natural. So the mind is a creator of habit. Why we have so much problem now is because the mind have been habituated with negative tendencies, and the habituation is such that every time that we meet the object, spontaneously those negative tendencies arise in the mind due to the power of familiarity. So what we are doing now, and actually this is the actual meaning of the term meditation in Tibetan, which is gone, means cultivation of familiarity. So we are familiarizing our mind, you see, with the Dharma. We are familiarizing our mind with some topics that are direct antidotes to wrong conception, wrong mode of engaging reality, wrong mode to engaging object. Okay, so there is a, yeah, we are familiarizing our mind with attitude that produces happiness, and we are trying to reduce the habits of the mind that produces suffering. That's the meaning of meditation, is to familiarize the mind with the virtuous object, which is actually an antidote, okay, an antidote to wrong conception, a distortion that we have. So now we are working with the distortion of permanence and the different type of laziness that arise due to the conception of permanence. So you see, it is important to understand the structure of the Lamrim and to have clear the pedagogy behind those different contemplation, because they each have a specific function, and that should come, the sequence at a certain as a fundamental also importance, the sequence. Anyway, okay, then the second route is to contemplate that the time of death is uncertain. So with the first route, we have contemplating that death was as an event is certain, is definite, is the certainty. It is actually the only certainty in our life when we think about it. The only thing that is definite in our life, and there is no doubt about this, is that we're going to die. The time of death is completely uncertain. We don't know. We hope, but there is no certainty. Okay. What it is clear is that from today and 100 years, all the sentient beings on the surface of this world will have been renewed. This for sure. There is no one who will abide beyond that. And what is also certain for us is that from now and maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years, maybe for the youngest of us, we will have died. Okay, that's clear. Okay, that's clear. And between now and that limit of time, there is no certainty when. There is no certainty of when. It can happen at any time, any moment, any day. It can happen even today. Okay, so we have to come into. This part of the meditation is one of the most important. Okay, is to contemplate the certainty of the time of death. Okay, the uncertainty of the time of death. And yeah, it is very important. And we have to, Lama Tsong Khapa said that we have to insist on this aspect. And even if we we do not see it, you know, it's difficult to be convinced that we are going to die today or tomorrow. At least we should think that there is the possibility. We should be clear that the possibility exists. So as I said before, if we assume that we will die, for example, today, or yeah, we will die today, when we wake up in the morning and we think, you see, that today is our last day, that there is a big probability for us to die, and probably tonight we won't be there, we will definitely spend our life completely differently. Our day will be spent differently. We will not find much time to quarrel or to engage in a discussion, you know, exchange of view about things, or criticize. We will not run too much around object of attachment, behind object of attachment, but we'll try to extract the greatest meaning, benefit from that day. Okay, so it has a very, very important impact on the mind. And the first of the Buddha's teachings was actually on impermanence, and the last of the Buddha's teachings was also on impermanence. So there is a message here. There is a message in that. And he also said that in terms of the imprint of all that walks on earth, the deepest and the deepest imprint and the largest is the one of the elephant. And he said of the contemplation, the one that the most impact and benefit of the mind is the meditation on impermanence. Okay, so this is just two things that you can find in the sutras. Okay, so if we think that we are going to die today, or maybe tomorrow, or whatever, then we will accomplish many goals. Okay, many goals. Okay, so the first one is to, so there's like three points to go through. The first point is, is to think that for human, the time is indefinite. Okay, the time of our death, you can die at any age. You can die in the morning. Some are seen in the morning. They are not seen in the evening. Some are seen in the evening. They are not seen in the morning. Okay, so you can die when you're in the womb. You can die when you're born, at the time of birth. You can die when you're young. You can die when you're old. You can die when you're playing. You can die when you're walking. You can die when you're resting. You can die when good health. Okay, there is no there is no certainty. There is absolutely no certainty. So we should think about this again and again. And Lama Tsong Khapa has said that we should also use our own experience and use the example of some people that we know, we heard of, that have died, you see, suddenly, okay. And we have to think that, oh, I am too subject to such impermanence. I am too subject to such a death. I'm too subject to such a death. So that would be the way to contemplate. And then the second point is to reflect that there are many causes to sever the continuity of this life, and there are very few that contribute to actually carry on. You see, this life. Okay, so according to the place where we live, you see, we can die due to the elements that are actually the support of our life. Water, fire, earth, earthquake, a tsunami, a fire. So the element, you can die due to the cause of the element. We can die also due to the cause of the human being. You see, we live in society which are very violent, and sometimes it takes nothing. It takes being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And also you can reflect about animals. In Western Europe, I'm in Western Europe now, by there, in terms of wild animals, there is not much left. But I remember not so long ago, I was in India, and I stayed for a couple of years in South India, and I've seen many cobras. We even have some, coming in just in front of our doors, So yeah. So in India, you have tigers, you have cobras. So yeah, there's some danger. Okay. Anyway, so it depends on the place of where you abide, of course. Okay. So, and then there is some even what you eat. You see, even the means that you normally rely on for your life can become a cause of death. The food itself can become a cause of death. Whatever, you can. Whatever we use in our daily life to make our life easier. For example, cars, for example, there's so many people dies in car accidents. So yeah, so there's so many. So you have to reflect like this, and you have to think that to wake up in the morning, you see, and to arrive until the evening, then you have avoided so many situations that could have been transformed into a cause of death. You see, it's actually a small miracle to make it until the evening. Yeah, and then in the morning, you see, when you wake up, it's also another type of miracle, because you just fall into this type of coma for 6-8 hours, no one into control, and somehow you manage to wake up. You see, but there's so many problems can happen during your sleep. I had when I was a student, I had a friend, okay, that she never woke up in the morning. She died, see, during her sleep. This can happen. This can happen. So it comes to this led us to the third point, is to contemplate that this body is very fragile, is as fragile as the water bubble. See, it is very, very fragile. As I said, yeah, something can break into your body. We have like so many like blood vessel and that goes, to the brain and everything. And some of those blood vessels, they are as subtle as a hair, you see. And it takes nothing for this to get obstructed or just to break, and then that's it. That's it. You don't wake up. That's what happened to my friend. And so something which is as subtle as that you cannot even see, you see, with your own eye, they can destroy this body. They can destroy this body. Okay, we can just have to listen to the radio and the television these days. There's so many examples. So at the end of this this contemplation, okay, you generate the determination that you have to practice the teaching, the Dhamma right now. Okay, so that's the second conclusion that you need to reach through this contemplation. So the first one led you to generate the determination to practice the teaching, to practice Dhamma. And the second one led you to the determination to practice the teachings, the Dhamma right now. There is no time to waste right now. And then finally, the third one, which is also very important, is to contemplate that at the time of death, nothing helps except your Dhamma practice, okay, except the Dhamma. And then you can reflect that your friend will not help. So it doesn't matter how many friends on Facebook you have, on Instagram, doesn't matter. You see, at the time of death, there's no help. No matter how much you see your family, your relatives loves you, when you have to go, you have to go. You cannot bring them with you. So yeah, so that's it. See, so when you are going, no matter how much many loving and worried relative friends are surrounding you, how much how famous you are, you see, you cannot, they cannot like stop this process. They cannot oppose this process, and you cannot take them with you. You cannot take them with you. That's the point here. And then the second point is the resource will not help. So whatever you have gathered all your life, and if you gather rich, like I don't know, like money on the bank, cars, I don't know, properties, whatever, jewels, you see, you cannot take with you the slightest particle, not even the slightest particle of dust you can take with you. So there will be no use. All of this, you see, all of this, like your own possession or your own relative, actually, they can even be an hindrance at the time of death because of attachment. And what is very important at the time of death is to die with a very, very peaceful mind, a virtuous state of mind. And the virtuous state of mind means a mind which is not afflicted by attachment, by fear, by anger, by aversion. Okay, so yeah, it's very important to prepare for that. And the third point is that even this body, you see, this body which is our supreme object of attachment, as I said before, it seems that we are working for our body all our life. We are working for the body. We are working, and we are to relax the body, to feed the body. For the body to relax in a comfortable bed, to put clothes on the body which are very like comfortable and soft and nice. And we even we are very careful on what we put inside of the body. We selecting the proper food, like a natural, no chemicals. It's kind of things. We even make exercise to maintain the body in good shape. We even, especially in Western Europe, We even, you know, as soon as there is a little bit of sun, try to change the color of the body. You know, we do that. Okay, so it seems that yeah, this body, which is this very deep object of abandonment, we also have to leave it behind. Okay, and anyway, all of this time that we invest in the body, of course, it is important, you know, to eat properly and to have a minimum of exercise and care, you know, but it should be done with the motivation that because this body is like a vehicle, is a vehicle that allows us, you know, to abide in this life, to be in contact with the Dharma, and to practice the Dharma to benefit others. And all of this should be done in this frame of mind, not motivated by attachment. Okay, so then it becomes very, very meaningful. Otherwise, it is just an investment, you see, a waste, because this body will be destroyed. And this body not only will be destroyed, but is going to soon, very soon, become a cause of a very, very excruciating suffering for us. This is unavoidable. Okay, slowly, slowly, all of our organs will fall apart, and there is no way to avoid this reality. So, at the end of this contemplation, those 3 points, you end up with you generate this determination that I will practice the Dharma purely, and only the Dharma and purely. Okay, so you see, you have 3 roots. All of these 3 roots have 3 contemplation, argumentation, and you end up producing 3 determination. And those 3 determination are the main point. Okay, the main point. Okay. And okay, so now in terms of our text, let's check. Okay, so in terms of our text, this leads us, okay, to, okay, so is found but once, through difficult to obtain, it finishes as quickly as a lightning in the sky. Having reflected in this way, realize that all worldly activities are like the wind of chaff, and sees its essence continuously day and night. I, a yogi, practicing like this. If you desire liberation, you should do likewise. Okay, so we have covered this aspect and this aspect. Now we enter into a new contemplation, which is the stanza 15. Okay, which introduce the causes of going for refuge. And Lama Tsong Khapa says, also there is no certainty that after death you will not be reborn in the bad migration. The 3 jewels will definitely protect you from this fear. Therefore, steadfastly go for refuge to them. Go for refuge to them, yes, 8. And never degenerate their precept. In addition, think well about the result of black and white action, and depend on a correct practice of that to be adopted and that to be rejected. I, a yogi, practice in this way. If you desire liberation, you should do likewise. So now we are entering the section on how actually make sure that we obtain good condition in the future. Okay, so that's so up to now we have done through several steps of ripening the mind, and now that the person had generated the determination that there's this continuity of the mind, and that is subject to karma, and therefore is the type of experience that the mind will go through in the future is not under one's control. Or one start to see if there is a method for avoiding a problem in the future, and then comes the method, which is the going for refuge and the law of abiding by the law of karma. And through those 2 practices, abiding by the refuge, the abiding by the law of cause and effect. One is led due to the process, to the working of causes and condition to experience happy result in the future. Okay, so that's where we are now. Okay. So in terms of in terms of my notes, let's see. So in terms of so if we look at okay, taking for refuge. So that the outline on how the contemplation revolving around the topic of refuge is normally established into the stages of the past. So first you have to produce the causes for taking refuge, and then after you have to establish, you see, why the Buddha is actually a valid source of refuge. And then after you have the measure of taking refuge and the benefit of taking refuge and the advice when you have taken refuge. So this taking refuge, you see, you can take refuge in two ways. You can take refuge through a ritual. Okay, it is done. You know, there is a ritual where you go to someone who knows who has this lineage. Is an uninterrupted lineage of giving the refuge to the student. So this is done through a ritual, and there is the refuge, which is when someone actually, having analyzed the teachings of the Buddha, comes to the understanding or come to the resolution that this is of benefit. This is of benefit for me. And that's it. See, so of these two refuge, the second one is the most important. So the type of refuge where, as through analysis, you come to the conclusion that this is of benefit, and and it is valid and it is of benefit. This is the main refuge, and based on that, generally after you go through someone, someone who has the lineage. And you actually take refuge officially, and you assume, what are called the precept of refuge, which are guidelines to respect and to practice, and then they ensure those precepts. They ensure that someone practice someone practice. You see, it's increasing somehow. It's increasing and it's not led too much astray. Okay, so we'll come to that. So in terms of the causes for refuge, as Lama Tsong Khapa says in his text, also there is no certainty that after death you will not be reborn into the bad migration. The spiritual will definitely protect you. Okay, so there you need to have done some of the contemplation that we have explained before. You see, you must have established, or you must have like a deep conviction, let's say deep conviction, and to start with, in the continuity of the mind. And therefore, in terms of the continuity of the mind, you should wonder, what kind of experience this mind will have in the future. So actually, our present life, it's just an experience for the mind. So the mind experiences this human rebirth with all the defect and qualities that it has. So this comes as a completing is a completing experience. You see, the main experience is the human life, and what happened during this life comes to complete. Is an add-on. You see, it comes to complete this experience of a human. But there are different types in the Buddhist cosmology. There is different realm. There is the desire realm. There is the form realm. There is the formless realm. So in terms of and each of them, they have division. There are 4 divisions in the form realm, 4 divisions in the formless realms, And in terms of desire realm, which is our actual realm, you see, you can distinguish about the deva of the desire realm. You can distinguish between the asura of the desire realm, and then you have the human of the desire realm. You have animals in the desire realm. You have the preta of the desire, which is kind of spirit, and then you have the being in the hell realm, you know. And each of those, they have like divisions. You see, they have like a cold hell, a hot hell with the 8 division each. And then you have the 4 divisions, 3 or 4 divisions of preta, I don't remember right now. And then all the animals, you know, we know we have the animals abiding in the sea, the animals abiding, you see, in on the earth, the human being of the different continents. And then you have the divisions, the various divisions of the asura. I think there are 2 or 3, and then there are 6 divisions of devas. So all of this all of this experience are the result of our actions. So in terms of the desire realm is virtuous contaminated action. In terms of the form and formless stream, it is what we call the immovable action. And in terms of the lower existence in the desire realm, for example, animal, preta, etc., this is the non-virtuous action. So how do we accumulate all of these actions? It depends on our motivation. It depends on our state of mind. If the mind is virtuous, then the action is virtuous and the result is positive. If the mind is non-virtuous, is under the influence of mental affliction, then the action is non-virtuous and we experience, you know, suffering result as a projecting effect of those. So if we look at our mind during one day, just a single day, from the morning until the evening, for sure it is always under the sway of the conception of true existence. So we only create, you know, on that base contaminated karma, and then after we have to observe, is the mind is associated with attachment, aversion, jealousy, envy, resentment, belligerence, pride. Okay, then automatically all the actions that are associated or that are motivated by this type of mind, they will become a cause. They will have full power at the time of death to project 5 aggregate in the suffering realm. And if instead our actions are motivated by altruism, compassion, kindness, you see, influenced by wisdom, patience, and then all of this generosity, ethic, you see, then all of this action at the time of death, there is that full power to project 5 aggregates in a happy experience, in a higher experience. Okay, so the problem is that most of the time we are under the sway of mental affliction. So at the end, unless we are like trained, or unless we are involved into some kind of training and we are mindful all of this mechanism, we don't just by we merely look suffering, we merely look for happiness, and because we are confused in relation to the cause of suffering and the cause of happiness, then we end up only creating, you know, a cause of future suffering. So that's the problem. So we should reflect on all of this, and we should come to the understanding that there is great probability for us to experience difficulty in the future. This for sure. This is great probability, and we should understand if there is actually something that can protect us from the difficulties. And by reflecting, and this we will go through that, on the quality and the attribute and the nature of the Buddha, his teachings, and the community that practice those teachings, we can see there that there is some kind of a shelter. You see, there is some kind of refuge. You see, to be protected from suffering in the future. So refuge as the idea. It gives the idea of being protected from something, is a shelter, is a shield, is a shelter to protect us from the suffering in the future. That's the meaning behind. So during our day, we constantly take refuge. We take refuge in pizza. We take refuge in chocolate. We take refuge in our companion. We take refuge in our family. We take refuge in our job. We take refuge on the seaside. You see, this is the way we take refuge, to gain happiness. But we have to understand that those are not a valid refuge. They cannot provide the everlasting, the lasting happiness, and they cannot provide a shelter against suffering. Okay, so we'll come to analyze this in detail. Okay, on the next session. In terms, so let me introduce this before we leave. That in terms of the causes of taking refuge, they said that if the refuge is effective, then two causes have been generated in the mind. So if you need to produce those two causes, and if those two causes are produced, then they said that the refuge has been effective. One is the anxiety, some kind of anxiety or worriness about what's going to happen in the future. Okay, so in particular, it's a worriness about the future suffering. Okay, so this is what you want to be protected. And then the second one is due to contemplation of the quality of the Buddha, his teachings, and the community. And this will do that next week. And you come to gain this conviction that those three, they have full power, they have ability, you see, to protect you from those future suffering. So there's two causes need to be generated in your mental continuum. And based on that, you can say that you have a refuge. Okay, you have a refuge. Okay, so I think our time is up. No? So I haven't covered much material today, but it was like many information maybe. So anyway, there's no problem. I keep an eye. I keep track. Okay. So okay. So thank you very much. We're gonna make the dedication. Okay. So of course, situation now, especially in India, is like increased dramatically. So in our dedication, we should also dedicate, for this situation, and for the world to be quickly free from this pandemic, particularly India. It's a difficult time these days in this period, and for all the people who have died, from this pandemic, for them to obtain a precious human rebirth, meet the Mahayana Dharma, okay, and progress along the path. And we should also, in particularly, dedicate for all the staff, you see, in a hospital, and for them, to be safe, to have strength, and to receive whatever they need to be able to successfully carry on, their tasks, their duty. This, that's very important. And please, be safe, be careful, keep your social distance, and wear your mask. Okay. So please dedicate in this way. And also we have the father of Atisha, okay, just passed away. So please, let's dedicate also for him. Okay, thank you very much.
May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline but increase more and more. Samsara and Nirvana lack even an atom of inherent existence, and cause and effect and dependent arising are unbetraying. I seek your blessings to discern the meaning of Nagarjuna's thought that these two are mutually complementary and not contradictory. Incomparably kind, supreme, Tenzing Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life, and may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Venerable. And we look forward to your donations because Root Institute needs donations to survive. And dedicate also for our trustee, Mr. Naresh Mathur, who passed away.
Thank you.